Thanks to all of you to be with us this morning. I am at the coffee this morning because my internet system crashed yesterday. I'm sorry for that. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
Very good. Okay. So thank you to be with us for this last session of our ASEAN Water Platform. This morning, we will have 4 speakers to introduce what people did at the workshop level in each country, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Each speaker will have around 20-30 minutes maximum to share with the audience what they learn during the workshop, to explain a little bit about the methodology, the tools they develop, and also, and it could be the final point, to share with us some conclusion about the workshop. And after, we will have maybe a few questions or comments about each introduction. We will start with Chiang Mai University. What I would like to thank again for this wonderful organization during 2 weeks, especially for sure online. What is it's a big deal to do. In Chiang Mai, they work on the different topic, especially transboundary water management, but not only, also air pollution in ASEAN country. It's a crucial topic, as you know, all of you. So I would like to invite the speaker or the speakers from Chiang Mai to share the workshop. Number 1, you have the floor. We cannot hear you. Microphone, please. Please, the microphone.
Okay. Do you hear me right now?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay.
So it will be nice to introduce yourself.
Yes.
And maybe to have some brief talk about the trainers and who attend the workshop during the previous days. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. On behalf of Chiang Mai workshop participants, we really thank you for this opportunity to learn from each country and each participants. So I am Hong Sai, I'm from Myanmar, and I am also studying at Chiang Mai University, Social Science. So we are here 12 participants and with the RCSC staff. So we are here around 15, right? And our presentation is reflection and learning journey of, and then Thammasat University student, of course. And we prepare the reflection in PowerPoint for each topic. So we have 4 different topics, and then each of the topic will be presented by our friends. So first group is we have transboundary water management. The second is our the logistic connectivity and development. The third one is we have land relation, and the final one is transboundary haze pollution. So we have 4 presenter, and then we will make it short, we promise. Thank you. So I would like to invite our first group. Yeah, 30 minutes, we will make it short.
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
So on behalf of our group, 3 member of group, so I'm going to present about the transboundary water management. Our group is responsible for that topic. So first, um, first of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity. We have a chance to attend the training. We have learned a lot. I don't know which one I'm going to watch. This one.
This one. You just
No, this one.
How can I move?
No, no. Yeah.
The slide.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, you have to pick here. You have to go first. Huh?
Okay. So thank you for the training, and then also this time we cannot, as a Chiang Mai ME student, we cannot do what we have to do, but luckily we have the training, and then we are invited to participate in the training. Uh, so thank you for that. In the training, we have learned about the ASEAN water management, especially focus on Mekong, and also air pollution. Air pollution issue in Chiang Mai, which is also related to the ASEAN countries. And we also have a chance to visit the on ground, to see the on ground situation, like Mekong and Karen village in Thailand. We have learned a lot from that. So after the workshop, we come up with the ideas. What I'm going to present right now. When we talk about Mekong in the training, and then we see that the people who are related to the Mekong River, or the country which connects to Mekong River, relying on Mekong River, China, Myanmar, and Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, those who are mainly relying on the Mekong rivers. So due to the development project by the powerful countries in along the Mekong border, Mekong rivers, so some of the actors, some of the countries have more benefits on the management of the Mekong River, but especially the local people who relying on Mekong River are being affected by the development project in the Mekong River. So when we met with the Kruti and Mekong Rakching Kong, one of the local group who are working for the Mekong River in the Thailand side, I have learned that before they have a network with the Lao people, and who are in the Mekong River, but to work for their to be able to sustain the Mekong region, and then to protect the environment, and and that what he said is that he has a network with Lao before, but now no network. I mean, in the ground in the ground, on the ground. But what I'm missing is that there is no voice from Myanmar side and the Cambodian side, because we feel that those communities they have to I think it's better to build up a network, and not only from the community but also the such like the academic level or the government level. But we see the gap of the information there. That is why we come up with this PowerPoint here. And then this PowerPoint is represent the flow of the informations. Um, the first one is scientist information, and the which like this maybe the technology and also the academic study and academic knowledge. And then the second one is local knowledge, and then which we can combine, accumulate all the information into one of the into the social page. Especially we mentioned here Facebook page. If we have like the system like the Chiang Mai province, the monitoring system of the haze population or fire burning in Chiang Mai, if we have such a kind of system, it will be better. But now we just only mention like Facebook, where we can share the knowledge from the local level, from the local people, and then scientific technology information. So goes to tech social media, and then those from that social media page, we can come up, those information, it will be, we believe that it will be very useful for the policy maker and also for the local people to implement maybe the campaigns against those projects, or to understand the water management in to better understand the water management in Mekong rivers from different actors. So, but we come up with this information. So if we have that page, who are going to manage this social page or social media and or application or this system, and which language, and how are we going to share this information? And then those are the questions we come up. So I think that is all from our group. So thank you.
On behalf of our group too, our topic is challenges of the ASEAN logistic connectivity and development. So based on this issue, what we have learned is that especially about what is logistics. So logistics means that especially we fulfilling the customer needs, and especially it's play as an very important role as and is helps to the movement of the commodities and economic integrations. So that is we understand that. And also typically in this the diagram we can see that what is the logistic mix. So so here at the above, so we can see the first one is infrastructure, and left at the left side service provider, and the right side institutional framework, and also trader manufacturer. This is the how the logistic make it. And the most important thing is we discuss about on the ASEAN connectivity, especially in the connectivity. So we discuss about the in the logistics. Number one is we very important pillar. One of the important pillar is infrastructure, and the second one is rule and regulations. How each of country they have agreement, and then on based on that, so they cooperate. And another one is the people to people connectivity. That is the main in the part that supports to the ASEAN connectivity. And this is the we have learned that was the challenges of the Greater Mekong subregions. So number one, what we see is that there are a lot of weaknesses of the institutional integration and lack of interagency cooperation. Even though what we talk about is that even though we have the each of the institutional, like some rule and regulation, but at the ground level, at micro level, it is very weak corporations. We see that it's very difficult to that. And number two is that we see that unequal benefiting in trade of between the upstream Mekong River and the lower streams due to their geographical landscape. That's mean that most of the powerful country like Chinese and also like other benefit, the powerful country, they get a lot of benefits. And then the third one is the when we observe about the Greater Mekong subregion, so we see that's the unbalanced development in different local communities. And this is also another one factors. And the next one is that even though the when we talk about the logistics, they have a lack of policy like related to logistics, especially problem to trick in the administration level. For example, the micro level, nation to nation, the trick is trading is like is a quite good, but at the ground level, like it's a kind of the policy level and the administration level is just quite difficult to cooperate and to manage it in trading. So our question is, where is GMS trending? And also like what kinds of fair policy and characteristics can integrate the development sectors among GMS country? Thank you.
Okay, for the third group, we will talk about the land relations at Ban Klang, Lampang, and the and Cheng Kong in Chiang Rai. In the sense, we will found that there is a lot of actors will pay attention on the kind of the land use. In this sense, you will see that when we're talking about the land relation, it doesn't mean we have to specific or focus on the one actor or one side that will exercise the power in these spaces. In this sense, I would like to show you that of this diagram will show you what land use have so many actors who pay attention on the contesting negotiations and the kind of conflict and cooperation with the land uses. In the sense, you will see in the sign of the both community, scholar, state actor, or private sector, they will kind of the mixing, the merging it together to benefit and the kind of use of the kind of the scientific or social science tool for dominate the kind of the land use in this sense. Especially the kind of the map and satellite image will be an emphasized tool that the scholars, social, state actor, private sector, and international have to adopt this kind of knowledge to dominate or contesting and negotiation in land uses in a sense. And next we will show you about the kind of the evidence that we found on the field in the Mekong River in Chiang Khong. If it's maybe in the left-hand side, you will see that what kind of the social community or the people, they use or benefit the land by agriculture, by vegetarians, but for the government or and the private sector, they will found that they will use the land as modern constructions like the embankment of the Mekong River. In a sense, I think can be found that, or we have some question that what kind of benefit and who exercise the power on this kind of the land use. But in the sense, you're seeing that kind of villagers have emphasized on the other thing about food issues, about the agricultural issue, water issues. But for the government and the private or international will be emphasized on the other, like what kind of border conflict, land conflict. And the second one is will be show you about the kind of still in the Mekong and the Vientiane Can district that you found was the government will be almost they emphasize on the embankment of the Mekong rivers nowadays. And in this sense, you will see the kind of the private sector and the government sector or international sector in Thai society will emphasize on its modern or civilized missions rather than agriculture or traditional growing in the rice field or something like that. And in this sense, this picture will show you about the Ban Klang district that we visit in maybe last 2 or 3 days ago. We show you about the land use of the community-based, what kind of the Thai state will be as make the discord of development to control this area as a national park and the forest preservation, something like that by Thai authorities. But in reality, you will find that the current people that they still keep factories on their shifting cultivation or their own traditional agricultural all the time. In this sense, you will see that it's led us to think about that, about the as power relations that when we're talking about maybe last 1 or 2 presents before, we're talking about that kind of the inequality of the power who are determine or make a decisions in a sense. And yes, and this yet will be leads us to think about the power relation in reality. But if you need more information, please find some article or books that you will know more about these issues. Thank you.
So the last topic is our haze pollution. So this picture represent we visited to the haze management PM 2.5 center in Chiang Mai. So this picture represent the collaboration with the state government and also with researcher and exchange of knowledge, and we learn a lot from that. So from our learning, we have more understanding of the PM 2.5, PM 10, and PM 0.1, how this haze can cause our human or animal or our health. So, and also we also learn about the collaborations among trying to solve this haze problem with transboundary issues through researchers, scientists, civil society organization. We also have a chance to visit the Arts for Air. So and then we also learn about the geographical factors of ASEAN country about the haze pollution, and we didn't know that satellite technology is how useful for detecting hotspot. And in Thai government, they have in Chiang Mai, especially in Chiang Mai, they have hotspot detecting system, and also the application that they have provided to the farmers and also district level, administrative level, and local village level to ask the permission to burn so that they can control the haze problem, the haze issue. And we also learned that the arts can be very powerful tools to advocate about the social issue and also environmental issues. So when we come up, we found in their solutions is from both sides, and also by community level, they know how to manage fire management, like example, fire breaks that they develop, and also collaboration, among the state and they are using local knowledge to manage the fire. And shifting cultivation also, they change from not changing land time to time, year by year. They are using the same land, or they are rotating their land like 7 years, 8 years, and then they come back again, not to cut a lot of trees. So they have their way of management that we learn. And so from the following the rules that government provided the application, and it can be approved or reject for requesting to burn their shifting from the waste from the shifting cultivation. From the government side, we learned that zero burning policies had happened in Thailand, but it doesn't solution 100% solution. So from the government side, they said that zero burning policy that makes them more haste, because they burn secretly because of the zero burning policy. So they try to manage not a zero burning policy, but to control where to burn and when to burn. And also technology development, also from the funding from the government, and also the technological support and research support from the researcher and scientists, and limiting time, and putting some rules and regulation for the when to burn. So our reflection about is overall, when we see all the development issues, it's a conflict of conflicts between the government and the state and community. So it's there's a gap in communication and collaboration. Even though they try to collaborate, but there are some weaknesses. They have the conflicts still going on. It comes with development. And also we also support this community for fighting for their community rights, that they don't want to leave the forest, but they used to be blamed for the forest fire or the haze. So they also have their way of managing. And we learned that local communities meaningful participation is very essential to solve the haze issue or any issues that we have. All the stakeholders, including local community with the local knowledge, is very important. So our questions, we come with what are the strategies to have a better collaboration with neighboring countries and ASEAN countries to solve the haze pollution, because the haze is transboundary issue. So thank you so much for your attention. We have this 4 topics reflection. Thank you. Do you have any question, clarification, and comments? We welcome. Yeah, thank you.
If I may, I will start with. It's not really question, it's comment. First, I really appreciate this restitution. Why? Because it's completely in line with the study we conduct, my colleague and I, in inequality and environmental changes in Southeast Asia. Recently, it is the plenary session we developed 2 weeks ago with you, and I would like to share some recommendation, 2 recommendations over one we mentioned in the policy brief. The first one is really it's about research capacity building. Research capacity building is particularly needed for different countries in Southeast Asia, especially for Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. And I want to underline that is is crucial to have integrate regional perspective in this research capacity building, and this kind of tools as a regional summer school is really, I think, really useful to develop the connectivity between countries and people. The second recommendation I will share with you is, for sure, I fully agree, scientific and policy institutions should reinforce their connection on the research program on environmental inequalities. And maybe we have to think a little bit more on sustainability science as a tools to answer this different issue. This is two ideas, two recommendations I have to formulate and share with you. But I'm sure maybe you have some other question or comment in link with this great presentation and restitution this morning.
The first question from Ms. Ling from IRD. Now, the presentation group, did you see the question? Okay, the question from Mrs. Ling is that night discussion on haze. Question to discuss. Do you think intermediate actors will have a role in the communication between communities and the state? Thanks.
Yeah, hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so on the questions, I think the intermediate actor, it means a middleman, right? Middle people to negotiate with the state and the community. I think yes, because the academic can be, you know, the scientist academic can be the negotiator, or as well as a civil society organizations. CSO also can be the mediator to, yes, like environmentalists and CSO leaders and researcher can be middle people to negotiate with the state. And that's also we have seen from the field trip, from our presentation, everything, from learning 2 weeks, that also shows the how the researcher and also for activist point of view, and that they are a negotiator. So that's really a big role, in essential role. Yeah, we think. Thank you.
It's Lynn from IRD. Thanks a lot for your answer. Yes, we also had some, it's where me did the research, the review with Stefan about inequality linking to environmental change. And we found on the database also that there are work that talking about some intermediate action, like you mentioned, the scientific communities and the NGO or CSO, like you mentioned, could have a role. But so far, maybe that would be a part of our research, or maybe part of maybe some actions that we could test, like action research, to see whether if we have intermediate between the communication between the state and the people, it could have in the situation, because you already mentioned that different group of people having different point of view. So the way they are looking at the situation are from their background, deciding, like the state probably they have a political agenda, and the people themselves also having their own system. So in that way, how to communicate, it really is tricky. Even the scientific committee also struggling. We try to understand the situation, but somehow to bring it up, or to really bring, especially the one with power, like decision maker, it's hard for them to open their mind in some way and to communicate and to enhance the participation. So it's just a comment. Thanks.
Thank you.
We have another question from Mrs. Hang from Vietnam Maritime University. Hang, do you want to ask the question yourself? Please turn on the camera and your mic.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. So I have a question for you. Is there any international treaty or any international organization which can help us to deal with the haze pollution? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Yes. Thank you very much for your question. There are a lot of international organizations set up, but I don't believe that there's any treaty-based or rule-based organization set up right now. It's basically just coordinating from what I understand, from what we understand. But absolutely, that would be a step in the right direction, is to have some kind of treaty-based, rule-based regime to help tackle this problem. Thank you.
Just to add some more, it's we have learned from our workshop is that there are ASEAN body, ASEAN ministry level. They are doing some policy and some collaboration, but in the implementation level, what we learn is very weak, because there is a gap between collaboration with the implementer and also the ASEAN leaders. They discuss and they, as Ajahn or Professor Root said, they hold hands together and then they talk a lot, and then but in the implementation level, the staff or the ground level people know nothing about it. So we learn from the border Cheng Kong trip. We asked the custom officer that, do you know about the GMS free trade or ASEAN free trade? And do you know anything about the, GMS related policy? And they know nothing about it. So it showed that in the implementation level, very practical level, they do not know about the policy. And I think that's a big gap that we all have to work on. Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to push anybody, but I would like to share the time with the other speakers. As you know, we have one workshop in Cambodia and 2 in Vietnam. I would like, if you don't mind, to move to Phnom Penh and to hear what they did during this 5 days workshop in Phnom Penh. So please, speakers from Cambodia.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, very good morning, Cambodia, from Cambodia side. Yes, this is our workshop reflection from 2 weeks of training, which is include the Cambodia session, which is held by National University of Management as well.
Sorry, excuse me. It's difficult to hear you because maybe your colleague do not turn off the microphone.
Ah.
We hear some voice.
You hear some voice, but it's hard to hear from my side, right?
So I don't know, but please, everybody, turn off the microphone because it's not so easy to hear the speaker. Please, go ahead.
Can you hear me well right now?
Oh, that's because she is outside.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
From Cambodian side, or Cambodian participate with summary workshop with both workshop reflection and workshop summary in only one this presentation, and only me present from the whole session. First of all, the presentation will be covered on the acknowledgement, workshop objective, executive summary, workshop summary, achievement, challenges, and very last one is next step. Yes, this is the first day of workshop. We have been together only for 1 day because yes, because of 20 February event in Cambodia. Huh? Excuse me if you can't hear from my side. Is it hard to hear from my side?
So Fatbati, I think there's a problem with internet connection first of all, and there's a problem with the noises behind you. So do you think that you can find another place, or if there's any of your way?
So can you move to the other session first and then back to my session?
Yes, I think it's possible. Do you agree? As we move to the workshop in Vietnam, and then we come back with.
Yeah, if the Vietnamese speaker for the workshop 3 on the modelization are here, we can start with them now, and we will come back to Phnom Penh after. But I'm not sure if they are ready or not.
Okay, so we have Phua who will represent.
Well, it could be IRD workshop or FAO workshop, doesn't matter. So if there's any speaker from Vietnam available?
Who?
Yes, we are here.
Well, are you okay? You can start now.
Yes, I think I'm okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm okay. Okay, so we're ready to start now.
Good. Go ahead, Phu. Come on. Yeah.
We start from Miss Hương from VNU.
All right, please share your screen.
I am bằng CTU.
Excuse me, my computer is running low, so I'm trying to open my PowerPoint. It may take some seconds.
We have only one presentation, but in fact, we come from 3 other places, so we have to share the screen 3 times.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, Hong, we can.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
So hello from Vietnam, and today we will have a brief talking about our feelings during the 2 week journey with AWP. And our group has 3 members. I'm Hương from Vietnam National University, and also you will meet Phu Trần and Bằng later. Our presentation has some main points. The first thing is what we've learned, and then we will present you some of the most impressive topics, the most helpful lessons, the challenging lesson, and some of our key implications for the future of our practice, and also some of our feelings. So from my side, I would like to tell you in brief what I've learned. Uh, Actually, in the first week, I got some interesting information from other presentation, but I will save it for Fu Chen to present more. And from my side, in the second week with the gamma simulation model, I feel that every lesson is really well prepared with logical steps. In the first day, we got an overview of a gamma simulation and its application. Uh, and then we got a more practice to run a water game model. Well, at that time, I kept in my mind that, oh wow, how amazing it is, and how can people create such an interesting model like this? And so many questions appeared in my mind. But in the second day, I got to know UML and some first coding from for the water game model. And actually, that day was really helpful, but also quite complicated for me. Um, and step by step, in the next day, I learned about model exploration to choose the best result from model, and also calibration. Um, in here, I got the point of what to do with the model, and in the last day, I learned about visualization and interactivity. Actually, I try to connect day by day, and I really see the logical step. By now, I cannot code by myself, but I understand uh, why do people do like this and how to run this. With the recording from everyday lesson, I may try again and practice more with the help of the trainers, I think. And for me, the most impressive topic is the application of the gamma. It's amazing that everyday life can be simulated in the gamma simulation. And sometimes what we thought in our mind, what we think in the mind may not be real when we put in the model. So that with gamma simulation, we may have different scenario, and it's really helpful for decision maker. And I really uh, open my mind when getting to know gamma simulation. And the most helpful lesson is the introduction to the project one from Alexi from the Professor Alexi Drogo. And for the most challenging lesson, of course, coding. I tried to got the point from Patrick, but I think it takes time for me. And also that day I got problem with microphone, so that I think I will try to practice again. And for me, some implication for the future. Actually, I am researching on the behavior of a community in adapting to climate change, and I'm trying to link the knowledge from this course to my research question, and I hope that there will be something useful in the near future when I go deeper into my research. And also, I also and secondly, I also learn the way of thinking in design research and for example, the mapping of stakeholder in a research with different layers. Now I would like to introduce Bằng, and I will come back to you after Phú. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Hương. Mr. Bang, where are you now?
Oh, I am here.
Let's sign in.
Okay. Um, can you see me?
Yes.
Hello everyone. Good morning. In the following, I would like to continue with the presentation of Ms. Hương. First, I would like to talk about the most impressive topic with our model are wrong, but some are useful. In fact, hunting a model has roles because we cannot fully simulate a possible enclosing condition of things and objects. However, on a model with small error help people a lot in the research, such as environment and climate change, social development policy. The next is the most helpful lesson. According to me, I think using UML is the most helpful lesson. Simply because it's a modeling language consisting of graphic symbol that objects and a method to describe information system quickly. Besides, it's easy to understand and have a high application. So is the net. During the course of my study, I created some difficult insight I think developed of the simulation of the gamma model is the most challenging lesson. That is because it requires getting comprehensive skill of them the line of code entrusted by the instructor. Not only that, in the exercise, we need to develop a new line of code for oversell. So until we try very hard much, so but most of us got it wrong. However, this is also very good if it's fair run. I found a lot of interesting things in this exercise. The workshop shows us many of the benefits of modeling in the future. Specifically, making it easier to choose development direction, planning for development. In this workshop, when building factory of using business that you wait the manager can choose for themselves the best policy. In the workshop, we were introduced to the gamma model language. And just the example of gamma demonstrate a convenient and robust simulation. What's interesting about it is that it's possible to first get with data and real-world information into the simulation, which can make the model simulation simulate to the actual condition. After that, on that have been learned, I think using the modeling and research can be difficult for a beginner. However, it brings a lot of benefit and interesting feeling for each user. Finally, let's review some concepts. On this model are wrong, but some are useful. Gamma simulation is extremely powerful. Modeling help a lot for scientists study escapes effects on environment and climate change. My recent session end here. Best wishes to everyone. I invite Mr. Phúc to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Bang. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I will start now. So, my name is Phu, Trần Đức Phú. I'm from Vietnam Maritime University. And to be honest, it is the first time I joined the workshop about simulation. So today I will present my anything I learned about the workshop and also from the AWP 2021. So let's start from the plenary session. In this session, we learn many knowledge we gain from many professors and also some specialists. We learn the first session from Mr. Ruth Banomiong about the qualitative methodologies in social science, and then we have a presentation from Mr. Dewan from Southern Denmark University about sustainability of small-scale fishery. And next, we have a presentation about the technology adoption in agriculture from Mr. Lionel Richford from University of Nantes. And we have a presentation from Cần University about the water resources in the Vietnamese Mekong Delta. And we have some presentation about the climate change, also just focus on biodiversity of the Mekong Delta. And we also have a presentation from Carl Middleton about the role of the Mekong River Commission, MRC, research on transboundary water governance. And we have two presentations from Huỳnh Phương Linh about the inequality and environmental changes in Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. So about on the presentation, I gain many knowledge, and many thanks to all the presenters that you have shared your knowledge to all of us. And after plenary session, I go to the workshop too. And as you can see that maybe my friend, the two presenters, because this is the first time they to be here, so maybe they quite nervous and they forget how what is to share with us. What is the name of the workshop? Our workshop is modeling and simulation of water basins integrated management. Hello. But in fact, I have to maybe we should name the workshop as anybody still listening. Because in fact, you know that study online is very difficult, and also the workshop share many knowledge and many difficult activities within just only 1 week. So because of that, we all of the trainees. Thank you for the group of trainer, Mr. Alexis, Mr. Patrick, Mr. Nghi, Mr. Quang, Mr. Arthur, and Mr. Doanh. Thank you for your contribution to the workshop. And after 1 week, we know that the Gamma is a very beautiful and very powerful tools for us in the research. And we also very lucky to have learned the knowledge from the developer of the Gamma platform. It's very lucky for us. And also after that, we know that Gamma is the most, the very powerful with hundred technology to develop the models. You can see in the screen, but we don't have much time, so I will not talk more detail on this. But after 1 week, we understand that Gamma allows the representation of complex interaction between population and their environments. And Gamma help us to make the decision, to visualize, understand, and anticipate and explore. Explore it. Gamma provide a complete integrated development environment to build models. And Gamma provide a modern and flexible modeling and simulation interface. And it's also easy to integrate with data, GIS data, and allow us to use different formalism to define the model dynamic, the powerful visualization tools, and we also can define the 3D displays and some more about simulation. So let's see what our feeling. So the own trainer they are doing, and you can see that in our point of view. Here you can see what the trainer is doing. So very fast, very professional, and on a bird look like this. Come on. Wow, it's interesting. Everything look very interesting, very quick, and it look like a circle. It's run, it's move very fast. So, but in fact, you can see what we learned. Yeah, we run. This is a very simple of what we learned from the workshop too. Yeah, what they are building is they try to build a group of people and draw like a cycle. Not the 100 people, and after they code, and we can see this is a group of 100 people are moving. Yeah, very interesting. So you can see in the picture here. So before attending the workshop, we thinking that we are the king, maybe the king of animals or anything else. We know many things. We understand many things or anything, but in fact, we are a frog in the world. We know nothing of the sea or anything else in the world, over the world. Just we try to sound and some very small, tiny species. They can, maybe they very weak, so they don't. Okay, they have to listen, but in fact, you know nothing. So, but look at some statistics here. I have to say that Gamma is very powerful, and I really admire what the Gamma group have done. Yeah, you can see. And let's have a say in Vietnamese. Now we have a chant. We always say that amazing, good job. But I have to say to the trainer group and also the developer Gamma developers group, you have did an amazing, great job, and really thank you for your presentation. And now we come back to Miss Hương. Miss Hương, are you ready?
Yes, but who could you please keep sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay, actually, we only have 1 day for collecting some short information with one question only. For the trainees from Vietnam, the question is that could you please type 3 words to express your best opinion about the AW key? And you see, this is a word cloud. Most of people think that the training workshop is exciting with new knowledge, interesting and useful, with lots of information and academic, even illuminative. But of course, we also think that it's quite difficult and complicated. But I hope that this small word cloud mapping may give you some of our feeling about the course. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. And here is our thinking. We have the most patient trainer. He tried to explain the course for us again and again. We also have the most dedicated trainer and the most kind-hearted trainer. Even sometimes the trainer asks for question or response. We don't know what to say at that time, and the trainer still waits in the silence, and they're really patient. And also, we also vote for the most gentle trainer, the Quang. Next slide, please. And so, thank you for disseminating the fruitful knowledge and nurturing us the love for science. And now I will share my screen with a very short poem as a small gift for all of you. Can you see my screen? Excuse me?
Yes, we can see now.
Yes.
Okay.
A poem.
Yeah. I just have some minutes for this. So apologize me if something is wrong. Now I will read my poem for all of you, for the lecturers and organizers. A half month seems to be quite long. A long list of tasks to do were awaited, but 2 weeks turned out to be short. A silent world of knowledge to be deeper. So tremendous. Gamma is my friend. You will see that from the air we breathe to the way water flows, Gamma can help simulating and bringing science to actual life. AWP this year, no shaking hands, no real fellowship, nor near together indeed. But here you will meet the most patient lecturers of the year, explain again and again for us, and even wait for response in the sound of silence. The most dedicated and kind-hearted person with wonderful logistic arrangement
and well-prepared lecturer for us. Workshop today will finish, but I know it is just the first step of the next journey. Words cannot express, but thank you for showing us the love for science. Thank you. And I think we stop our presentation from Vietnamese team. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You are the most charming trainees of the AWP. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
And maybe I would like to invite the most patient trainers, because he's online for some comments. Patrick Talandier is here with us. Hello, Patrick. Happy to see you.
Yeah, hello. Just it will be very short. Just to say,
Yeah.
very thank you for this very interesting presentation. I know that the condition was quite difficult for this course. Yeah, to work remotely on simulation and modeling is quite difficult, in particular when dealing with programming in Gamma. But just first of all, so it's quite normal to just in few hours to not be able to understand all those things about coding and Gamma modeling. But I think you just draw from this lectures the most important thing that the potentiality of the tools and what we can build and do with this type of tools. And I think it's most important. So thank you very much, and for your patience as well. And yep, that's all for me.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, I don't know if there's any comment or question from the audience. But I do not see any question or comment in the chat. So if you don't have anything in mind right now about this workshop, we try to building some bridge between science and social science, what is a big challenge. We will move. We will come back to Phnom Penh if the communication is okay.
Yes, in Phnom Penh now is ready.
Okay, thank you very much. So, please.
Actually, in Cambodia, all Cambodian participants decide to create only one presentation, which is include the workshop summary and also acknowledgement and our achievement, as well as some challenges as well. Initially, on behalf of Cambodian participants, we would like to express our sincere thanks to organizer, co-organizer, project donor, and the Vanasi project, as well as partner country institution. Support from organizer and different expert Thai and Cambodia hosts contribute to the success of the workshop, 2-week workshop. Planning and facilitation for the meeting, executive event, February event in Cambodia. The photo so in the slide, we meet each other only one day during workshop, and the other day was online or conduct virtually. We also to the COVID pandemic, we decided to cancel that field trip. And on behalf of Cambodian participants, once again, please accept our appreciation for the excellent tailored capacity building program organized in this time. contributing in research into water natural resource or WNOM within the partner country. This division between participants encourage young researchers to involve in environmental and IOC as well. For workshop executive summary, refer to the yes, as we have known that there is a 2 week of workshop virtually conducted in Cambodia as well as Vietnam and Thailand to WNOM sector. There are many very professional and inspiring presentation along with question and answer session as well. Especially AWP 2021 this year also include innovative research competition to encourage young researchers work on research on the environmental and water issue that known from 3 different countries. From workshop from Cambodian side, actually Cambodian has organized 6 different sessions of workshop by inviting researchers from various backgrounds of Cambodia to share their professional presentation and especially case study as well. Let me move to the first presentation from Dr. Chun Kong. He introduced about the hydrological modeling, very comprehensive presentation. Model work, what is the import to perform something like this. For the same lecture, different lecture from the drainage modeling system as open software for stormwater modeling. From this presentation, we are model component and import. We also like how to perform, how to draw the subcatchment, how to design a storm, and how to run the data as well. So far, I would like to know, is there any internet connection problem from my side? Excuse me, can you hear me well?
Yes, we are still listening.
Oh, I'm afraid that my internet connection is not stable. That is why I want to clarify, like if participants can listen from my side clearly. Yeah, so let me move on to the workshop summary. We also learned from Frank professor as well about the assessing risk and crisis management. You know, from this previous presentation, we have observed that creating of risk management is compulsory for organization and also for research purpose as well, in order to have a quickly respond to the unexpected crisis happen. The other workshop in Cambodia known as GIS Introduction and Elevation Mapping of Urban Objects from Professor Sivan, that we start to know the concept of geographical information system and how it's work and how to perform in research data and how and also know the special data position in geodetic system like define map projection, elevation, and application of urban object as well. Yes, this is the lecture from Professor Chok Chong from NUM, National University of Management. It's about flooding solution from near and far. Yes, from this lecture, we have a group discussion as well to discuss which solution can be applied or practiced in Cambodia. to prevent or flood and to find appropriate solution for reducing flood in Cambodia. We also learned about several of interesting way or great solution that another country use for flood control, like we observe in a case study in Japan and Korea as well. Also share some knowledge or idea with each other, as I mentioned earlier about the group discussion, like to apply the appropriate practice, appropriate solution for reduce flooding in Phnom Penh. Lecture known as the introduction to airborne training and survey Institute of Technology of Cambodia as well. From this great presentation, we are able to describe the purpose and importance of airborne drainage, type of water required in drainage, like whenever the population increase, the airborne area also expanded. So adapt of airborne drainage system is really compulsory. And the necessary or the advantages of urbanization or urban drainage, the different type of stormwater drainage approach and type of sewage system as well. Moreover, this year, earlier about the IOC application. Only there are 6 applications apply for IOC, and there are 2 different sessions. The first session on 26 February with 15 minutes for presentation, and this is for revise or revision process that held yesterday. What is our achievement during 2 weeks of workshop? So we have learned and discussed both common sessions with 3 different countries and our own side, Cambodian side as well. And of course, Cambodian participants come from varied background. And meanwhile, it is clear that workshop was instrumental in defining current approach to project site in Cambodia. Even though there are challenges in like participant is not really a background in science, some are from social science as well, and but technical refer to technical challenges, there are some internet connection because this workshop is conducted virtually, and like less interaction between participant and participant because we connected online. For next step, from Cambodian side, consider that we'll be encourage young researchers to apply more on IOC, idea or information among IOC in different countries as well, to a bigger international scale to run the project. And brought information sharing to relevant stakeholders to attend this workshop as well. It's not only from academic side, but also sometimes from a government officer as well, which is related to the environmental management as well. Yeah, so that's all of my of Cambodian side. And thank you for listening with great pattern. And once again, we would like to express our sincere appreciation and thank for all effort until during the end of this presentation. We believe that this crisis, the pandemic, will be somehow resolved in the near future. Yes, and moreover, we are particularly looking forward to attend another training and another workshop as well. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you, trainers and trainees from Phnom Penh, who did who developed a great strategy to make this workshop possible under the COVID-19. I know the situation was not so easy to handle the last few days. So thanks for that and for your participation and your great motivation. Any comments or questions from the audience regarding this presentation? Okay, it's all right. So just if you don't have any more comments, I would like to invite the last speakers, and we will move to Hanoi now for the field research, qualitative methodology in social science. It's a workshop we developed since several years now, and this year it was quite special because to manage a field trip under the COVID-19, it's a big challenge. You can believe me. So I don't know who will speak for this workshop. There's any trainers? I see Emmanuel Panier and Ling who are with us this morning. Thanks for that. So you have the floor. You can start when you want.
Thanks, Stefan. Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn again. So first of all, our presentation will consist of 3 parts. So the first, I will do a quick introduction about the workshop. And then we will have 2 short presentations from 2 teams from Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. So that we will try to manage the 30 minutes, but it could be a little bit longer. So on behalf of the trainer team, so it's me, Lynn from IRD, Emmanuel Panier from IRD, and Olivier Texier from EFL from Ho Chi Minh. So it has been a pleasure working with you as always. And this year, like Stefan mentioned, it's really special for the workshop. We're trying our best to manage the logistics. Actually, Manu took a lot of struggle on this one. So the workshop is naming the fieldwork training. So it has been a traditional for Varanasi as well as before that it was Tam Dao Day. So the purpose of the workshop is to train and do a practical workshop of someday in qualitative methods of social science. So objective of the workshop is to let the participant familiar with the tool and the method of inquiry. So specifically it's on the method linking to anthropological research, carrying out a short field trip with different steps of the methods. So we mainly focus on qualitative fieldwork, and it's really important because it's a practical skill. So we have to put that into the practice to understand that. So the training include a complete exercise. Even though it's short, but it was a complete exercise of designing, executing, and analyzing the data. So the step we took in the 5 days were identifying the research problem, identifying the object, and we formulate hypothesis and main research question and orientation to go for the interviews in the field. Collecting data mainly based on semi-structured interviews, and we proceed and analyze data together, and also manage to do a quick preliminary analysis of the data to have a synthesis to present today. So the workshop went on the first day with the theoretical presentation from the trainer team with some discussions on the methods, and then to provide the methodologies tool as well as some technique of the fieldwork based on the experience of our work. So then we move on with going to the field with the collective practical work. After that, we actually work together to design the research statement and then the guideline to go on the fields. And this year, because of the situations as well as the heated topic related to COVID-19, so we realized it is not to pick that up as the topic. So we took the idea of the impact of COVID-19 on socio-economic life of the Vietnamese people. So it's also convenient in the sense that everyone from Hanoi, from Ho Chi Minh and Haiphong could also attend and then joining the practical part. So collective practical work have been done in different groups of 1 to 2 or 3 people per group to go around the city in Hanoi, in Ho Chi Minh, and in Haiphong to collect the data, to interview people, and then we come back together to discuss that. So basically, this kind of field trip is conducted in the sense of exploratory fieldwork. It is the first step of the qualitative study. So despite of the short timing, we are actually having in terms of methods and training, we have really strong outputs in terms of concrete use of methodology tool for qualitative study. So we had practiced the experience to go and back process between the data collect and data interpretations. It's actually we revised the hypothesis as well as the guideline for study after the first day, which will be presented in by the trainee later. So it has been a contractual process. So it's not a fixed topics or a fixed idea or question, but then it has been discussed and rediscussed and reflected during the field trip. And it has been a collective work, and emphasis has been placed especially on reflexivity of the trainee themselves or in terms of methods, and also the critical thinking. So I already mentioned, so this year workshop has been kind of the first ever of its form of doing online in some way. So we have 2 teams from Hanoi, like a big team in Hanoi of 6 of us, and then a team in Ho Chi Minh with 4. And then we have a team in Haiphong connecting to Yum and some other as well. So because of that, difficulties also affect the way we do research and the communication and discussion with the data analysis, but we really appreciate the motivation from the team and really engaged. We had the running on the first 2 days in Hanoi, like the spring rain, quite cold. The people were doing the field trip. We appreciate that a lot. And in the sign of the reflexivity, so those specific conditions also became the object of analysis for critical thinking as well. So special thanks for the team. And here are some pictures of we actually in the field and also moving around in different corners of EFL in Hanoi, trying to catch the good internet connections. So that would be really short introduction from the trainer group. So now we just directly move on to the next 2 presentations from Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh team. The floor is yours. So whom would like to start first, please?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Vanang and Mai from Hanoi team. Today, we will, on behalf of the Hanoi team, present to you our research result for the workshop. Yeah, let me share my screen. Can you tell me if you see my PowerPoint slide?
Okay, we can see now.
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah. So I will have you with the introduction of the presentation first, and then I'll cover the second section. Yes. Can we have a round of applause for her, please?
Yeah. Before we are going to our presentations, I would like to thank the organizers of WANAC and AWP's 2021 as well as our mentor Phương Linh and Manuel to give us the opportunity to join that workshop and guide us a lot of the methodology about the qualitative methods. And now I start with my presentation for my Hanoi teams. In our workshop, we are joined in field research qualitative methodologies in social sciences, and our team in Hanoi and our presentations have nice content you can see on the screen, and our team with 8 people, 2 from RMIT in Vietnam, Nguyễn Thị Thu Trang and Nguyễn Vân Anh, one from the USCH, Mr. Đào Thanh Dương, one member from the Architecture University is Dương Thị Ngọc Oanh, and 4 members from the Graduate Academy of Social Sciences in Nguyễn Thị Tuyết Mai, Nguyễn Thị Thanh Nhã, Bùi Lê Anh, and Trần Lang Hương. And the initial topic is we focus on the impact of COVID-19 on the social and economic life of Vietnam, of Vietnamese people. And the reason why we choose that topic is because Vietnam is in the 4th outbreak of COVID-19 and coming to a 1 year period of dealing with the pandemic. And the second reason is the research examining impact of COVID-19 or policy response to COVID-19 in Vietnam. Mostly took the quantitative approach, and we have some research we sold. And the third one is because this is the first exploratory field work aiming to explore the impact of COVID-19 on social and economic life of Vietnamese people during the past year, 2020 and 2021. And the method we use are inductive reasoning. It means that we go to the field and after observation and interview. After that, when we come back, we are giving theories and generalizations our theories. And from this is the quantitative field work process. You can see that the first time we are support 3 major teams and with some subtopics. And after the first few weeks, few trips, we are come back to class, and after that we are recognize the 5 focus topics. And then we go to the second interviews. After the two field work, we give the topic about the resilience of Vietnamese people throughout the COVID-19 outbreak, and you can see that on the process like that. And with 3 supported method, thematic and subtopics, we support with 3 in the first slide, we are supposed to 3 topic. Is the first one is perception of the citizen about the COVID-19. We give 10 sub questions. And the second thematic is the effects of the COVID-19 on the daily life and their income as well. And with that thematic, we give 4 questions, sub-questions. And the third thematic is that the response and the adaptation of the citizens during the COVID-19, and we give 2 questions. And our field work is conducted in Hanoi. You can see that we conduct in Long Biên, in Thanh Xuân, in Hà Đông and Cầu Giấy, and some areas and some other areas. With the first few work context is that on the first day, on Sunday, it's 28 in February, we conduct 9 interviews, and we are divided in 4 groups, and each group have 2 or 3 members, and and our members Link and Manuel go with us to help us to address the questions and guide us how to interview, to get the data, get the information from the respondent. And the locals we conduct is Định Công, Thanh Xuân, Long Biên, Hoàn Kiếm, and Cầu Giấy. And why we choose that local is because we are take advantage of the available relationships like our friends, our relatives, our colleagues. And we on the first day we are interviewed 7 the acquaintance, and we also choose randomly on the street 2 interviewees. And on the first day, this topic is still very large with us. So we need to go to the, I think that we need to go to the few trips again and continue to address the research question and have a smaller research object. After the first day, we come back to the class and together to address the research questions, interview guidelines, methodological protocols, and hypotheses. And we identify the focus identify the focus transversal topics with 5 the focus topic. The first one is just about the government management of the pandemic and the state information. In that we are address the evolution on trust, the limit of the trust, and the trust on what, and doubt on what. And the second topic is resilient to cope with COVID-19. It is the ways people absorb the shock from the pandemic and what is the limit, which research mobilized from the market, from the personal saving, personal access, relationship network, state support, and the address diversity of strategy as well. And the third topics we focus is that the change in the way of the life or the views of the world. The continent, it is a continent between the business as unusual with no structural change, or the structural change in the view of world. The fourth topic is ambivalence between the positive and negative impacts of the pandemic. And the last one is the fifth topic, dialectic between the life, security, personal, sharing, collective responsibility, and personal reputation in a rich relationship. Yeah, you can see that in the second few words content we have, and this also we also to take advantage of our relationship to make our appointment with our college, with our relationship with our relatives and acquaintance as well. So through the 3 days we go to the field, we have 17 interviews with 3 persons is strangers and 14 persons is acquaintance, our acquaintance. You can see that in the interview, our interview conditions at the coffee, at the home, at workplace, at shop, at the trees, and all of that, and 2 people we are interviewed via call. The way we are conduct the interview and the place we conduct the interview is a place the convenience place for the interviewees. So we are use a type of the 2 type of the interviews is the open interview and the informal talks. You can see that from the table is we are static. It is our static about our sample. We are divided in genders, age, and occupations. In And after 3-day field trips, and after we are talking with our member as well, and we are going to the revised topic. And the methodological comments we give is that we have implemented the fieldwork process to design a research object in an exploratory qualitative research based on the inductive approach. By the reframing and adjusting the question, the research question, interview guideline, methodological protocol, and hypothesis. We conclude the final research questions after exploratory fieldwork as how individuals cope and adapt to COVID-19 shock in Hanoi throughout the outbreaks. So the research object we gave a resilience of people, of Vietnamese people throughout the COVID outbreaks. And the reason why we do that is to identify how Vietnamese people cope with the COVID-19 outbreaks. And there is a capacity to respond, and there are drivers behind their responses throughout the outbreaks. And the way we are use the data we have is that we use the declarative analysis technique to preliminary analyze the data collected from the field trip we conduct. So the next part is the result we get. Miss Vân Anh will presentation that part.
Hello everyone, thank you very much Ms. Mai for helping us introducing the project to everyone. Now let me summarize the results from the descriptive technique, data analysis technique of our respondent. We come up with 3 major themes for our results. The first theme is the diversity of the response, which means it could be also understand as the various way to respond and cope with the shock of COVID-19 of the respondent in Hanoi. The second major theme is the type of response strategy that they employ in order to cope with the shock of COVID-19. And the third theme is the typology of the response strategy. I will go through each of the results, and then we will conclude with the hypothesis and the conclusion and the future research of this, the future direction for this research, right? So first of all, let's go to the first theme of the result is the diversity of the response. The respondents from Hanoi show different degrees of impacts and also various ways of response to the COVID-19 shock. And we can see that from some of the some of the case that we have here showing the different level of impacts of the shock and also their different way of coping with the shock. The first case that we have is a cleaner. She is a cleaner under unofficial contracts for families in Hanoi with an income of about 5 to 6 million Vietnam dong per month. She's the main breadwinner of the family of 6 members, and she has taken various jobs, labor job, in order to sustain the livelihood in the city. Her family, Miss A's family, and her has suffered quite deeply due to COVID-19, as 3 other members of her family lose their labor jobs, and her income also reduced significantly as people do not want cleaner to come into their house during COVID-19. Somehow she can restore, she can resist the shock of the COVID-19, but the living condition of her family is a lot lower than before. And she has to practice saving. Getting rid of all the expenses that are unnecessary and focus on basic necessity for her family to survive. And the strategy that she used is mainly by diversification of jobs, i.e. taking in other jobs that are allowed to work during COVID-19, and also seeking for support from the government and charity, for example, the Rice ATM. Right. So this is a case of a respondent who was heavily affected by COVID-19 and their life is not completely back to normal yet. In our second case, is the director of a tourist transport company in Hanoi. We conduct an interview in meeting. As you can see, this is our photo, and you see our babysitter there as well. Manu, are you here? Yes. Mr. B, well, he's 49 years old, CEO of a tourist transport company. Before COVID, the company has a capacity of 40 buses. Right, and he worked mainly with foreign tourists. About 70% of his revenue coming from foreign income, for a foreign source. Sorry, so he was heavily affected due to COVID-19, and foreign tourists cannot come. And however, he still managed to maintain his personal condition of the living. In some of the business, and the company has suffered greatly and is on the verge of bankruptcy. And he is not sure for how long he can keep on with his company. However, he does say something, some insight that we think that is very important, that you can see in his quote here. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I keep going. I find the way. Hard work is an important factor, and he stressed on not surrendering mentality of his. And the strategy for him to keep on going is that, first of all, at the beginning, he used the provision of his family and his company. He reinvest the business, and also he diversify his product option by going into community transport. He focused on reparation service, etc. And also he had to sell some of his bus in order to get rid of the debt from the bank. So we have a similar case of this is Mr. H. He is the director of car accessory company who mainly import car supply from China. And he also mentioned that he used his strategy to cope with the shock of COVID-19 for his company is to diversify his product in order to win the competition, especially in this period. And Mr. H mentioned that the company could survive for about, could continue on for about 2 more years, but after that, then he's not so sure, right? The third case that we have here is the lady. She's a single mom working in a museum in Hanoi and has an 11-year-old daughter. Yeah, she has a stable income of about 10,000 million Vietnam dong per month before COVID. And aside from the shock of the fear of COVID-19 impacting her economic, she's also afraid of getting the disease, because that means that she will not be able to live with her daughter. She was also an example of being impacted greatly by COVID-19, because her museum job changed from a full-time to a part-time one, reduced in the salary, lost a tenant in her house, and lost in investment money. However, she managed to turn around the situation thanks to diversification of income source and by taking advantage of personal network. For example, doing online business, doing consultancy job for insurance and study abroad. And her condition is now even better than before COVID-19. And her mentality is that even though it's difficult for her to enter the labor market in her 40s, she's still actively learning and looking for suitable future jobs. So that is the third case that we have. And the fourth case that we want to introduce here is the profile of a lady, Mrs. Yi. She was born and living in Hanoi, a lecturer. Both of her and her husband have very stable income. So in terms of economic, they don't suffer much. However, in terms of personal life and the way to live, the way to work, she has to change a lot. And the strategy for her to do is to accept the situation, change her habit, change her way of living, and she feel all right now that when she get used to the change brought by COVID-19. So as you can see here from some of our case that we try to introduce here to you here, the respondents are having very different level of impact by COVID-19, and they show various way of respond to the shock of the COVID-19. Right. So from there, we analyze what type of response strategy they imply, even though we don't have enough evidence to generalize, but with the current number of respondents, we assume that some common pattern of response can be identified. For example, the change in the daily way of life or even the view of the world, they reduce their daily spending, especially on non-essential needs. They use more online service, payment, making most of the digital technology to be able to diversify their income. They practice physical activity to stay healthy, focus on building relationship with family and friends, and one common strategy, not one popular strategy that the respondent use is the diversification of income source, right? So this is the type of response strategy that the respondent are employing. And in terms of typology of the response strategy, we can see that the response strategy comes from the respondent who have different impact and also different ability to recover. For example, the first group that we have here is a respondent who suffer from the shock, but they resist, but they're still very vulnerable at the moment. We have the second group who are affected by the shock, but adapt and restore their living condition, or even establishing a new balance in a new context. And then the third group is the people who are affected, but take the opportunity of the new situation to improve their living condition. So from this, we see that there are two questions. So how long could they resist, especially for the respondent that managed to establish a new balance in a new context? And also, what about the respondent that could not recover from the shock? So that is the two questions that we need to focus on, right? So after we analyze the data from the respondent, we have another question, which is what are the driver and the features that shape this response strategy? And we have some of the hypotheses. This is a generalization. This is the introduction slide, and then I will go into each hypothesis. The first hypothesis that we have is the resilience of the respondent during COVID-19 outbreak might be due to Vietnam being a resilient society. The second hypothesis that we have is that the Vietnamese respondent, especially in urban Hanoi, they have this readiness to cope with the shock of COVID-19 or any pandemic or disaster. And the third hypothesis that we have is that the respondent have strong ability to absorb the shock from COVID-19 due to historical reason of the society. For the first hypothesis, resilience is the features of Vietnamese society in urban Hanoi. The main question that we have is that is resilience is a shock to shock of features of Vietnamese society in urban Hanoi. And in our case, it is shown that the Vietnamese respondent in urban Hanoi has a strong resilience capacity. And by resilience here, we mean that it is the ability to resist, overtake, and continue with a new balance, right? Our case show a strong capacity to cope with the shock, but there's a diversity in the capacity to restore, and also the vulnerability of them after the shock. So and there is a trend according to which people absorb the shock and manage to recover. For some, it is better for them. For some, it is a new balance, and for some, they resist, but they are still vulnerable or even more vulnerable than before. Of course, we need more field work in order to, and more literature review for this hypothesis. And for the second hypothesis, we assume that readiness is a part of the Vietnamese society in Hanoi. Most of our respondents seem to be ready in case of shock. For example, they have many features of social practice. For example, they already practice diversification of income. They have this flexibility in to change jobs, and also there might be a feature of debt management. We need to look more into that. Saving is a common practice, and also tính cộng đồng, which means the collectivism and strong norm of mutual support in the society, which help them to have access to the resource, especially for necessity like ATM rights in case of needs, right? Hypothesis. Yeah, the respondents have strong ability to absorb the shock from COVID-19. Our assumption is that the respondents have already developed a strong ability to juggle with the insecurity and the uncertainty of the pandemic shock. So in order to do that, we need to understand the pandemic response in relation with the history, their personal life, the last history. It means the history of Hanoi and Vietnam, and also the larger image, picture of their personal life and their mentality. Also, elements from the history of Vietnam that illustrate the uncertain and insecurity environment, which force the respondent to always be ready to face insecurity and uncertainty. However, we need to find more evidence in fieldwork and in the literature to show this, right? So in conclusion, we thought that our research need more fieldwork, and also need to conduct a deep literature review to confirm the hypothesis and also our analysis, adjust our analysis. We might need to include in case that cannot cope with COVID-19, as this case had not appeared among the respondents. And also another issue that come up, especially when we talk with the CEO of the company, which is the extent of the resilience, until when the most vulnerable can resist. And for people that can resist, then what is their limit? Why? That is the next theme that we might need to explore further. Right. So for the next step, we plan to continue conducting the field work to answer the research question and the hypothesis. We plan on conducting a literature review regarding the proposed hypothesis, and for article writing and publication.
We have some questions.
Yeah. Before we move on to the question and answer question, I would like to thank again Ms. Ling and Mr. Emmanuel, who's very, very supportive of us, both during the field trip, both during the workshop, and also during the data analysis for us to complete this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mai and Vân Anh. And please hold on for the question, because we are going to hear another interesting presentation from Ho Chi Minh City team. So in the meantime, the team, probably you would like to look at the two questions we already had from the chat. Okay, please, Ho Chi Minh City team and Olivier, please.
Oh, hello, can everyone hear me? Cool. My name is Charles, and I work with Stanley here in Ho Chi Minh City, and we were guided by the vacancy with regard to our research field work. Can you have the slides?
Okay.
Okay, so can we go to the first few parts? Yeah, so for this one, we are actually just summarizing some of the key findings that we had with regard to this workshop for qualitative methodologies. So can we have the next one, please? Okay, so for this one, we are actually looking at the different aspects that we have observed for our field research. Namely, we are looking at the locations, respondents, and finally, we go to the five key aspects or themes of our investigation regarding this research for COVID-19. So for the locations, we wanted to make sure that the locations are as diverse as possible so that we have a diversity of respondents. And so we will also have a variety of point of views regarding the formulated research questions with teams in Hanoi. So this, the questions have already been presented earlier, and these were grouped into 3 categories: perceptions, effects, and adaptations. Next, please. So for our respondents, for myself, we have around 15 respondents. For Stanley, he had 12 respondents. So overall, we have 27 respondents here in Ho Chi Minh City. So the ages of our respondents ranged from 22 years up to more than 60 years old. It's like, especially for the women, they are very sensitive about divulging their age, especially if they're more than 60. Gender, male and female, educational attainment. For our interviews, we have seen that some of them have some schooling and some informal training, but we also have professionals who we were able to interview to have a trained master's degree. So in regard to the occupation, what we can see here, we have a very diverse group. So we have students, shop staff, and or owners, because sometimes the shop staff is also the shop owner. We also look into temple staff members and university lecturers. Okay, so for the 5 key themes for our field research, this is actually identified after the first field research. So this one we have identified for our second field research. So like what have been pointed out by the team in Hanoi earlier, we have focused on 5 key aspects, namely trust, resilience, change in thinking, ambivalence, and personal and collective responsibilities. Next slide, please. Okay, so for trust, like what we can go ahead and see here, I have divided the cohorts between the older respondents with the younger respondents. So for the older respondents, they have expressed an astounding level of trust regarding the government's policies that have implemented to control COVID-19, as well as the information disseminated by the state media. So like in our interviews, we asked them, it's like, if you will put it in percentage, how many percent do you trust the government? Most of them have responded 80 to 100%. So one of the respondents is actually very passionate about her trust regarding the policies of the government. However, for the younger generations, what we have observed so for the younger generations, what they have expressed is some level of skepticism, especially for the number of reported cases, but they are very confident that although not all of the cases...
You have to.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so the thing about it is that for the responses that we have, it's like especially for the younger generation, they have expressed some level of skepticism, but they are still trusting the government that they are treating all of the cases. However, both of the groups have pointed out or have expressed distrust with social media because of fake news and violation of privacy of the COVID-19 patients. At the same time, there is no censorship or regulation of information, and thus it is much more difficult for the respondents to actually sieve in which is accurate and which is not accurate. Okay. For the resilience, we actually have surveyed different areas. So like what you can go ahead and see here, most of the surveys that we have, or rather, most of the interviews that we have made are with the business owners. But we have also tried to include different sectors such as education. Like what we can see here, we have University of Social Science in Ho Chi Minh City, but we also have a Buddhist temple in District 5. Okay. So for resilience, the reason why we wanted to look at different districts is because we are looking at it at different points of views. And the thing about it is that the nature of businesses are actually dependent on which district you are in. So like what you can go ahead and see here, one of the key aspects for resilience that we have tested is actually about the closure of business. So if they have closed their business, chances are the business is less resilient as compared to others. So in Benton Market, we have observed 70 to 85% closure. And this is actually based from our own observations, plus the perceptions of those who we interviewed in Benton Market during the first day of our fieldwork. Bintai Market is 50%. Bintai Market is also known as Cholon in District 5, and they are actually dealing primarily with wholesale and with a lot of domestic localities in Ho Chi Minh City and nearby provinces. Sky Garden is actually my community. It is in Phu My Hung in District 7, and Sky Garden is predominantly occupied by foreigners. So for most of the respondents in Sky Garden, they have said that they have observed around 50% of business closures. So aside from the closures, businesses and organizations reported customers and attendees. So the thing about it is that I would like to emphasize the difference between businesses and organizations, since we have also interviewed a temple. For this one, like what you can go ahead and see here, we have different attributions to the closures and to less clientele for the businesses in different districts. So in Sky Garden, it's estimated to be 30 to 50% less because of different reasons, primarily because of most foreigners who are living in District 7 are unable to return to Vietnam. In Bintai Market, they have 50% less customers as well as 50% less sellers. 50% less sellers is attributed to two important aspects, namely it is because of COVID-19 and they are unable to return to the business. And number two, it is because Bintai Market was actually went under restoration and renovation, and so some of the businesses actually left and did their business elsewhere. And Benton Market, for our total respondents, the estimates ranges from 75 to 90% of the market closure because of the lack of foreign tourists. And together with the lack of foreign tourists comes with the cost of having lower local visitors as well, because like what we can see here, one of the respondents have a perception that there is a 1-to-1 ratio between the foreign visitors and the local visitors. For the temple staff that we interviewed in District 5, the estimate is at 70% less temple goers. This is primarily because of the social distancing measures, and at the same time, there are some government restrictions, especially for last year during Tet, the temple was closed for 2 weeks. Also, it's like one of our observations here is one of the respondents from Benton Market observes Catholic Mass online as compared to going to the physical church. So what are the sources of resilience? So the sources of resilience for the businesses are actually from different things. So number one, they are using existing inventories. So they are selling it at a deep discount. But the thing about it is that when we ask them if they are able to buy more inventories, the answer is already no. So really, it's like what they're doing right now is just stock clearance. One of the respondents that we had from Benton Market is actually just helping out one of their relatives to clear out leather goods because leather goods is highly perishable, especially with the humidity in Ho Chi Minh City. Most shops are now accepting online payments. So they're now accepting bank transfers, Momo, and AirPay. They are now also accepting credit cards to ensure more avenues for sale, because the thing about it is that some people are not willing to pay in cash, and some people are actually more comfortable in buying things on credit. Most of the businesses that we have seen are actually conducting promotions, sales, cooperating with online platforms if they can, and this is more relevant for the food businesses that we have interviewed. So most of the platforms that they are using are Grab, Gojek, and Bee. So Gojek is from Indonesia, Grab is from Singapore, Bee is local. So the thing about it is that they are now trying to look for other ways to reach a larger customer base. However, if you go ahead and take a look at it for the workers, there are workers who were interviewed who said that their pays were not deducted. So these ones are actually the workers in District 7. However, the main income remained the same during the lockdowns. So this is also the case for the university lecturer. So the thing about it is that not everyone actually received a pay cut. Okay. However, if we go ahead and take a look at the flip side of the coin, so if there are parts that make us resilient, there are parts that are actually threatening our resilience or survival during the pandemic. So a lot of the businesses have expressed concern regarding the lack of financial support from the government, especially with taxes. And this is a theme that we have seen both in both of the local markets, Bentan and Bintai. So they are still paying the same amount of taxes, regardless if they are making less money or not. Like what you have pointed out earlier, they offer deep discounts. However, they are barely they're barely breaking even, and most times sellers experiences losses. And this is because of point number 3, which is due to limited cash flows and unpaid credit. So the thing about it is that they would rather sell at a loss in order to have money now as compared to hold on to their inventory. Some experience higher costs for operations, so especially with rent, but with lower revenues. So most businesses have reported revenues that have been slashed from 30 to 90%. This is across the 3 districts that we have covered: District 1, District 5, and District 7. There is also more pressure for the families to help with the business. So they are taking either unpaid work or there is additional help from the family, but all of which are unpaid. Or sometimes their family members or relatives are the ones who are offering informal credit lines. For the workers, like what we can go ahead and see, most of them are experiencing pay cuts of up to 50%. And some of them are experiencing less benefits or no overtime pay. And this is true for our respondent in Takashimaya in District 1. So for the coping mechanisms that they have employed, it's like, how do they think that they can survive for the next few months or few years? It's like all of the businesses that we have interviewed are saying that if this is something that will keep on happening for the next year or 2 years, they will definitely close down the business, because there is no way for them to continuously operate in this kind of condition. So for the coping mechanisms to improve resilience, it's unpaid work for the owners. So the thing about it is that the owners of the businesses are the ones who are operating the business with no or very few employees. And this is something that happened in Bentan Market, in Bintai, and in District 7. Acceptance of different payment methods, which we have already presented earlier, because digital payment and credit cards allow more sales as compared to just depending on cash sales. And lastly, it's operating below capacity and cost cutting. Okay, for the change in thinking, Because for the resilience, it's like this is something that they have focused a lot on, especially for the businesses. For the change in thinking, like what you can see here, this is something that we have presented earlier regarding the distrust between on social media, but there is still trust for mainstream media and the government. People are actually willing to sacrifice their own benefits for the betterment of the society. And one of the things that we have also observed is there is a perception of xenophobia, especially with foreign researchers asking the interpreters to ask some questions that some of the respondents feel that, well, there are actually some potential respondents who actually refuse to answer the questions. Okay, so like what you can go ahead and see here, it's like I'll just shuttle through very quickly. It's like on the business side, the younger generations, they tend to be more flexible as compared to the older owners of the businesses. Ambivalence, it's like we cannot say that all of the impacts have been ambivalent because most of the micro SMEs, lower skilled workers, and uncompensated family members have experienced negative impacts. Ambivalent impacts are more in the perceptions of the vaccine because some people think that it's good, some people think that it's bad, some people do not have any opinions on it. Online work, it's also ambivalent because it's negative for some, but it's positive for some. Negative for some because it's more work, but positive for some because it continuously provides them with an income stream. Okay. Last one is about the personal and collective responsibilities. So there is a good observation of adherence to government protocol. There is a greater role for individuals to promote greater good. And the common theme that we have seen here is that people are happy with the government's approach of prioritizing health first over money. So these are some of our proposed research questions that we have discussed earlier, and these are some of our photos. So this one is actually from the temple. So they are limiting incense sticks for the people, as well as having reminders. And this one is the empty shop that we actually were able to interview by chance. The 6-7. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very impressed about all you did in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Even if it was a little long, it was so rich that thanks for that. Really, thanks to everybody, trainers and trainees. We have we have 2 questions on the chat, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank IFAO Hanoi and especially Philippe Le Fayet, representative staff of IFAO in Vietnam, because thanks to him, we was able to work at the ASEAN office during 5 days each morning, I think. And so it's not online, but I'm sure he will have a look on the record one day. So thanks to him and to everybody. We can come back to the chat and the comment and question you have.
Okay, do you listen to me, Stefan? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So thank you very much. I'm also very impressed by the presentation because in fact we prepare the basic outline together, but after they deal by themselves. So I discover at the same time the news presentation, and they really did a good job in Hanoi and Saigon. So thank you a lot for the team. And I know the condition was very specific this year. Especially for those who can only attend online. And I know, especially in Haiphong, they try also very, very hard work, and they still manage to do some interview, even if there is social distancing in the Haiphong, so they cannot present today because we don't have the time. But I also want to say that participants online and also some of them in Hanoi try to follow it, and we cannot go to the field with them, so they cannot have the core and the most important things which is going together on the field work and make feedback. But also, I just want to stress that they still participate and try hard. So about the question, I don't know if you want I answer or it's better if participant answer.
Okay. For the first question, if I may answer.
Yeah.
Okay. For the first question, do we think that the interview atmosphere is very important and can direct respondents' mood? We would say yes, because the thing about it is that when we interview people in the market, what we have done is plain and simple, and this is something that Olivier actually have seen us do. We went around the entire market. The first walk is not actually to look for a respondent. The first walk is actually to get a general feeling of how the people are, whether or not they will entertain questions, whether or not they are too busy, especially in Bintai or in Cholon, because it is a very busy market. Even if it's operating at 50% capacity, it was still very, very busy. For Benton Market, it was quite simple because we were the few foreigners who were walking around Benton Market. They were very eager to come, and yeah, it's like the conditions are quite different. Would you say that if we do it in a hospital, I think at the current situation, no one would like to speak with you in the hospital, especially with the current conditions and the current situation that we have right now. But yes, I think that it does affect the atmosphere actually affects the people's responses and actually how they elaborate on things. So let's say, for example, for one of our respondents in Benton Market, he was very passionate about his responses. He was actually speaking about how dissatisfied he is with the government because he was able to freely speak because he was in his own shop. Okay, but let's say, for example, there is a respondent that we had in Cholon. It's like what happened was that we are actually asking someone to be a respondent and that someone refused, but she actually answered our question out of curiosity. And so when she found out that it actually has a lot of questions, she was like answering yes, no, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. So the quality of the responses that you have from that person who is actually just trying to butt in is actually quite different as compared to people who are actually in their element or in a comfortable setting. More questions? Was like, please.
Okay, maybe someone else from the group want to answer to the other question.
It's like, how did you develop the questionnaire?
Maybe Miss Chang, you want to answer, Miss Chang? Or...
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to. Yes. Hello. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Hanoi Group, I would like to answer the question. And firstly, thank you so much for your question. The question is, how can we develop the questionnaire? I'd like to share with you. When I already shared the Word file, we developed by discussing together, both in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. As from the guys from our trainers, share the Word file and everybody can contribute their opinions, their idea to develop the question. And we already discussed 4 times. At the first time to develop the first format of the questionnaire. And for the first day, we went for our interview. Then we discussed more on the result and come back. and discuss further for the second time to change based on the framework. And we develop by taking the idea from all the people and adjust to the more detail for the questionnaire. Like we come up with some themes. For example, perception, the effect of COVID-19 on daily life or income, etc. And we have the theme, like the response and adaptation of interviewees on COVID-19 pandemic.
And then we drop it into.
Yes. So after discussing, we went to the field and using our new format after adjusting, we come up with the proposed research topic. And we finalized five research topics. The first one is trust about the government management of the pandemic. The second one is the resilience to cope with COVID-19 pandemic. The third one is the changes in the ways of life of the interviewee. The fourth one is ambivalence between the positive and negative impact of COVID-19. And the last one is the relationship between the personal responsibility and the collective responsibility. That's our last research topic after discussing for 3 times. And we use a research topic for our last fieldwork. Yes, thank you. Do you have any comment or questions? Please feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you, Chang, a lot for your detailed answer. Just a few elements about the first question about the bias that affect the data and the response of the respondent. So I just want to stress that in a qualitative research, there is lots of this kind of bias. It's not only the place where the interview happened, but also who do the interview, how many people, if you are a man or a woman, if you're a foreigner, if you speak Vietnamese or not, the gender issue, etc., etc. And it's impossible to avoid all these aspects that affect the situation of the interview. So the way we do in the qualitative approach is that we also make an analysis of the condition of the interview and try to identify all the different elements that can affect the answer. So it's what we call reflexivity. So we don't only ask questions and take data and analyze the data, but we also analyze all these different elements that affect the data collect. And it become also one of the topic of the survey. Yeah, it's very important to mention that. So is there any other question or comments? We don't prepare any poem for Wanasi or the team.
Why?
But I think Olivier have a song, or you want to sing something.
After. Just one addition, thanks Manu. Regarding the second question, actually, when you talk about questionnaire, some of us probably thinking about a set of structure questionnaire, like really close question. But in the qualitative approach, like Manu already mentioned about the bias, we actually aiming at only a guidance and a topics. And in that way, the way you convey the conversation, you have to remember that guidance, but it's not strict question. And question could be asked in different way and could also be changed or adjusted according to the context. And most of the time, the key part of how to conduct a qualitative interview is to somehow to make the interviewee comfortable in the condition. So that would depend on your way of asking and also where you are sitting with them. Thanks.
I would like to add some more the ideas from our group for the first question. Thank you for Mr. Hang already asked us this question. We During the presentation, the other members of our group already discussed about the question, and we come up with the answer is that the atmosphere of the interview is very important. Give us the good results or not. And for us, we carry out our interview at the place where we already asked our interviewees where they prefer to be sit during our interview, and on the places we chose the place that our interviewee suggested before. So we think that the atmosphere is good because they feel comfortable with the and they suggested the suitable places for them to be feel comfortable during our interview. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, all of you, each workshop participant, for this wonderful morning we share together after 2 hours, more than 2 hours and a half Zoom. It was a pleasure for me, at least. I two or three brief points from my side. The first one is we sent to all of you a survey about WANASI project. So it's very important, I would say crucial for us to receive your answer. So please do not forget that. The second point is maybe, as you know, the WANASI project will be closed in few days, in 1 week. I will meet some of you at the final meeting of the project next week in Hanoi. So it's the end of this Erasmus Plus project, but it's at the same time, we can say that it's a beginning of a new process, of a new step, and a new collaboration, I hope, with all of you in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand. From me, is what I expect, is to use this Erasmus Plus project to build new research on new project on research and capacity building in Southeast Asia in different countries. So is my wish, and I hope and I know you share this expectation with all of us. I would like to know if Chiang Mai University, Mr. Cheyenne or Madame Kanchana would like to say a few words of conclusion. I would like to thank Chiang Mai University again for the great organization during 2 weeks. You know, 2 weeks could be long, but finally it was short. We can say that because everything going very well, and all of you show great motivation during these 14 days. Kanchana or Mr. Cheyenne, are you here? I'm not sure, but anyway, it's lunchtime, so.
On behalf of Ajahn Chian, I will say thank you for the WANASI and the APW project of 2021. Yeah, thank you to all of you to participate from CMU here. Thank you all of us again.
Thank you very much. The certificate of participation, of attendance, is already done for all of you. You have one in Chiang Mai, another one in Phnom Penh, and for the Vietnamese participant, we will send you the certificate at the end of next week. We will not forget that, believe us. I hope you a wonderful weekend, and I hope really to meet you soon in presential. Bye-bye.
Wait, just one.
Bye.
Just one last point, please. I have sent you the link for the survey of the AWP 2021, and please spend just a few minutes to complete it. Very helpful for us. And maybe you don't have another survey. We very short too from Tucson company. You might become contacted by a Tucson company who is the auditing firm of the WANASI project. So please help us with this. Thank you very much. And goodbye for now, for real.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.